Let's get it on.
Nongchina, botta, mapa, botta, botta.
Welcome to another adventure. This pack rafting expedition takes us 150 miles through Manu National Park on the Mother of God River. We've got loads of exotic and bizarre tropical birds, caimans and monkeys, and a whole bunch of wacky stuff like giant ants and bats. No, we're not fooling around here. We're serious explorers.
Extra cheese, regular pepperoni. Yes. Yeah.
Just saw a big white bird fly by with a crutch.
And expert naturalists.
Well, I think it was a heronade.
We also take the time for good personal hygiene and make sure to get plenty of rest. And we're always making new friends along the way.
Hi.
Follow along. Join us on a jungle hike in search of tasty snacks.
Thanks, man. I'm still full from the capybara we
The
had.
capybara, okay.
Crunchy on the outside, creamy on the inside.
Twisted trunks, and a tropical paradise. This is Manu National Park, 9 days. We begin with blowing up boats and packing gear at the river. Pack rafts look like pool toys, but they're built for the river and for carrying loads of gear. We set off, and I have a last look at Atalaya, which is the port town where all Manu National Park tours begin. Jeff has been here with me before, and now he's back to take another break from directing passengers at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. We soon cross a few tour boats on their way back to the port.
So we're not the traditional tourists, and actually it feels like you're more part of the wildlife.
I can only imagine what we must look like in these little boats with giant packs carrying everything we need for weeks at a time. Just a half hour downriver, we get out and start hiking to Lake Machuwasi. The boats and paddles get rolled up and they go on top of the dry bag backpacks. Normally, the walk to the lake takes about 15 minutes, but we're overloaded with camera gear and have to make multiple trips. We've reached Lake Machuwasi, which means old house in Quechua. Caciques are my favorite birds. They are very entertaining, and I especially like their vocalizations. They usually build their nests right next to hornets for protection. I also see them above boat docking areas at the small towns along the river, so I assume they also get protection by being around people. The smooth-billed ani is a type of cuckoo, which is considered an invasive species in the Galapagos Islands, and the only proven method for eradication by the Charles Darwin Foundation is by using a rifle. Bummer. This is a gray-capped flycatcher, and here is a social flycatcher, which I've seen at almost every oxbow lake I've visited. The black-capped Donicobius is another one I see at oxbow lakes and continues to be the only species of its genus. Another one, which is the only species of its genus, is the Limpkin, which is probably looking for apple snails or freshwater mussels. The russet-backed Ortopendula makes these crazy sounds. Look how he waits for a reply. With all the energy he's putting into this bow display, I have to assume it's some kind of a mating call. Here, the great egret takes a stab at a small fish, but isn't successful. It can stand up to 1 meter tall. During the 19th century, they were hunted for plumage to decorate hats, but have since recovered. Now these loud, bizarre, turkey-sized birds have been given the name of horned screamers for the protrusion attached to their skulls, which is entirely made of keratin, like your fingernails. It's not a feather at all. Hey, where do you think you're going? Well, let's just change the name to horny screamers and call it a day. Hoatzins, known locally as chanchos, have specialized bacteria in their gut, which ferment plant material. This is similar to how cows process grass. They are constantly burping up methane from the fermented foliage and have proudly earned the name stinkbird. When I can't identify a bird, I'll just make it up. And when I want a better camera shot, I'll try to get their attention. Never mind, go back to bed. And we steadily lose the light and spend the night with the stinkbirds on Machuwasi's observation tower. The next morning, I see an old friend. These little frogs are about the size of my pinky tip, only a few millimeters in length.
So for these tiny little frogs, I must confess, the first time I went out into the Peruvian Amazon was in Tarapoto, which is outside of Iquitos, and I would grab one of these little frogs and throw it out in the middle of this piranha-infested lake, and then it was gone. I wouldn't do that now because when I do solo trips, these animals are the only friends I have, so sorry about that, little frogs.
Tadpoles are the larval stage of amphibians, such as frogs, but have fish-like features such as gills and swimming tails. As they change during metamorphosis, they develop lungs and will even come to the surface to gulp in air. Jeff and I are returning to the river using a different path, which was virtually unknown to other guides and tour groups in the past. It will take us by a smaller lake where I've seen caimans, but the likelihood is about 10%, so cross your fingers. We're in luck. And this thing is tiny. It can't be much more than a few weeks old, and not old enough yet to be afraid of me. It does know I'm here, but is more curious than anything. Leafcutter ants have a mutualistic relationship with a fungus. The ants cut sections of leaves and bring them to their nest in order to feed the fungus. Then they use the fungus to feed their larvae. Both need each other to survive, no exceptions.
Is that your hat? Yeah, I decided to keep it.
With all the humidity, we find colonies upon colonies of funguses among us, and that white one on the left is edible, but don't take my word for it. Back at the beach, we find a pair of southern lapwings. Now, I always try to figure out what they're saying to each other. I think in this case, they might be having some kind of an argument. So we're back on the water for a 45-minute float down to the next campsite.
So this entire stretch of river is about a class 2 plus.
I pick easy rivers so that everyone can enjoy the wildlife, but you do have to pay attention because you don't want to get caught up in all of that behind you. Tonight's plan is a campfire, so I start collecting wood. Meanwhile, Jeff gets started on figuring out just how my hammock gear on the beach setup works. The hammock isn't needed and makes a great pillow, but the bug net and tarp are still a good idea. Good night. The next morning, we walk over to the beach, which faces the clay lake from across the river. It's really foggy. No birds have shown up yet, so for me it turns into people watching. This isn't the best clay lick, but it's close to the lodges so the tour agencies can easily include it.
So this is the Manu clay lake and everybody's standing around waiting for something to happen, but I'm not sure the birds are going to show up because it's pretty cloudy.
Just when the tour groups leave, a flock of blue-headed parrots show up to lick the clay. The clay may contain minerals such as salt and magnesium, which they don't get in their regular diet. It's also negatively charged, which helps balance out an acidic diet of fruits. I find the best beetle on the beach. There are about 650 species of beetles in Manu National Park. Since we have about 4 hours of boating in front of us, I've got plenty of time to brush my teeth and shave. And let's do some laundry while we're at it. And yeah, I'll just hang everything right there. I don't think it's gonna bother these pied lapwings or this Amazonian kingfisher. Today we'll pass the Pantiacoya mountain range and spend the night at the Shintuya hot springs. It's starting to get hot. Time for a little jungle air conditioning. This section of river usually has rising columns of air called thermals, which these lesser yellow-headed vultures ride in order to conserve energy while they search for food.
Bananas?
Yep. They grow them across the river and then they bring them to this side and they take them to Cusco.
We've reached the confluence with the Palatoa River. The Palatoa River water is on the left and the Mother of God on the right. We're now at the Pantiacoya Mountains where the river bends towards the east. A few minutes later, we reach the Shintuya hot springs. It's time to unwind and soothe any bug bites. This is one of my favorite spots. Kati from Trujillo is also enjoying it. Just about all other hot springs I've been to in Peru have been created to resemble a recreation center, but Shintuya's hot springs is still surrounded by jungle, and the temperature is maintained simply by using round rocks in a bamboo trough. The volcanic water comes straight up from the rock on the hot side, and on the other side, a cool creek flows into the same pool. I've seen various bird species overhead, as well as monkeys and bats at twilight. In the afternoon, Jeff and I hike up through primary forest. He's telling me more stories along the way.
Her mom called her aunt and said, my daughter does not do cleaning. Very hard worker.
On this hike, you can expect spiders, old trees, and twisted vines. I'm showing Jeff the usual tour guide routine, like the old throw the machete into the termite mound trick, which took me years to master. And then the heart of palm demonstration and tasting.
Thanks, man. I'm still full from the capybara we
The
had. a few hours
capybara,
ago.
okay.
There's food everywhere if you know where to look,
Crunchy on the outside, creamy on the inside.
and drinking water too. No wonder Tarzan refused to leave the jungle. And to top it all off, how's this fort? A hidden slice of rainforest heaven, complete with diving platform. And Jeff is a jumper too. We both hammock camped here last time. Just up from the main pool are more waterfalls and a three-way split. Each with their own cool water jacuzzis. When we've had enough of Shintuya's natural water park, we begin to head back down to the lodge. Jeff is now our guide. We relax with views of the river and more airport stories at O'Hare.
You've got late check bags.
This is a bullet ant, which is an inch long. Sorry, I forgot to stick my finger next to it for size reference. At twilight, I capture some bats and tease Johan, the lodge manager, about an empty bottle of pisco.
Oh, really? ¿Estabas borracho ayer? Así?
Today is recovery day.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go. I think I got bats on here. They're still coming though. That's cool.
We're back on the Alto Madre de Dios, or Upper Mother of God River. I'm scanning the cliffs for anything interesting. Wow, what is going on here? Howler monkeys, a whole family of them, and they're licking the clay. Mammals also need it to compensate for a lack of minerals in their diet, especially salt. Unlike birds, which will find a clay lick almost daily, mammals have their own rhythm, so this is a special occasion. You want to play a good practical joke on your brother? Go over there and try and pull him off the cliff. It's really funny. When Dad finally gets his last lick, they all retreat back up into the canopy. Today the river braids, or in other words, separates into multiple channels.
We have now looped around, and this is the backside of the Pantiacoya mountain range behind me.
Jeff still has busy O'Hare on the brain.
Really surprised there's no traffic at all.
We've been lucky with the weather, because normally this time of year we experience friajes, where cold winds from the Andes descend into the rainforest.
A couple of movies to get you psyched up for this river are by a German director whose name is Werner Herzog. They are called Aguirre, Wrath of God, and Fitzcarraldo. So check those out. So we don't have enough time to do the hammock camping thing tonight with the machete, but we found this beach over. I'll show you. But the first thing I think is this mess of tapir tracks. So this is a hot spot for tapirs.
So I want to get Jeff set up with the tapir site. They don't come out until about 2 a.m., but I doubt Jeff will be awake for it. He's wiped out. In fact, this is how he slept. I couldn't ask him to set up his tarp and bug net, but I made sure he had his tarp right next to him just in case. From the beach, we were surrounded by birds, such as caciques, macaws, parakeets, and parrots. 2 macaws together means they're a mating pair, but when you see 3, it means she hasn't chosen her mate yet. Good night, Jeff. Sleep good. May it stay dry.
Good morning. So last night was a rough one. We had hours and hours of torrential rain, wind, thunder, and lightning, and our island is about 1/3 of the size.
Jeff survived in the boat by covering himself with the tarp in a fetal position. The island is now cracking off into the still rising water level. We're getting out of here just in time. The river is bumpy, and there's more debris to look out for. Jeff's a trooper. I know he's exhausted, but he's strong. After surviving the night, it's nap time. Jeff finds a nice, comfortable spot hung up on the bottom. I think he's gonna be there for a while. We passed the occasional tour boat, probably returning from the Manu Reserve Zone.
Behind me is the Rio Manu, the Manu River.
We reached the Manu confluence and slipping, but Jeff is sharp.
Manu National Park.
The reserve. Behind me is the Manu River, which takes you. Behind me is the Manu River, which takes you to the Manu Reserve.
We spend the night at Boca Manu and enjoy the view from a touristic bench. I explain our journey to a local. He's been to all those same places we have. The next morning we reconvene. Here are some sprouting coconuts and a window to Jeff at the canal. Today we'll float about 5 hours and pass the community of Puerto Azul, and we will probably hammock camp in the forest tonight. Soon enough, the coconut breakfast doesn't cut it, so we both get the same idea.
Extra cheese and pepperoni on mine.
Extra cheese, extra of both.
Just extra cheese, regular pepperoni.
Extra cheese, regular pepperoni. Yes.
I doze off, giving up on the delivery.
And we're like the only gringos with the only 2 green boats on the river. You know? Can you throw in some free breadsticks or something? You know, something for it? You will?
The pizza guy never shows, so we both start to get cranky.
This ankle's getting burned way more than that one, so I'm rotating the boat.
I wouldn't say a machete is necessary, but it's a great advantage. Just like these paddles are for swatting bees.
I felt so bad, I fished him out of the river. He was just keeping me company all along and was gracious enough to come back. We reached Puerto Azul, which is an Maracaibo community of 30 families who principally speak the language of Harakbut. We're back on the river, now looking for a campsite.
Okay, cue. I can't say it without laughing. Okay, cue the 1980s adventure theme. Wish us luck. No fer de lance or bushmaster.
Here we stumble upon this tree, which could be 1,000 years old. I don't know what it is, but I started calling Jeff Percy Fawcett after the famed Amazon explorer. It just works. And camp is set. At the river's edge, I catch a squirrel monkey, and he catches me. Then a male giant ameba lizard wanders into camp, and oropendulas in the trees. After a few last-minute adjustments, I head back out to the river to catch the sunset. Good night, or Hakarinkama in Quechua. We still have a long way to go, but the weather is being kind. First up this morning, a tree with both blue and yellow and red and green macaws.
Turned out all right. We've had a nice breeze, rolling thunder that never came to us, broken clouds, broken sun, good current.
We passed by some gold miners, and Jeff's on a good one.
Well, next time we pass some gold miners, I'm going to offer them my fingernails to pan under for $5. I figure there's got to be at least a quarter of an ounce under there. Hey, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Just saw a big white bird fly by with a crutch.
What do you mean, a crutch?
Well, I think it was a heronade.
Okay.
We find some capybaras, and they're spooked. I don't think they can find their way back up the riverbank. This is the largest rodent in the world. I dock my dinghy to commandeer my new ship. There's a giant peninsula in the distance. Tonight we'll be camping on the beach, and there's plenty of it. The beginning of a rainforest starts with just a few seedlings. The sand feels great on my bare feet, but so does the mud. The magic begins to happen with rain on a sunny day. Then a double rainbow forms in front of the jungle canopy. Some common nighthawks are perched half asleep. Then I wake up a sand-colored nighthawk which was sleeping inside of a log. Then a pied plover tries to escape my camera shot. Hi. The only thing cooler than a burrowing owl is two of them. This is where the military came up with the term, keep your head on a swivel. These guys aren't gonna miss a beat in any direction. So Jeff said, quick, put the camera on me.
Are you sure this is the right way, R2?
The hot Tatooine sand is getting to him.
The princess said to look for Obi-Wan. Well, how am I to know where Obi-Wan is?
This is a Kukoi heron, one of the biggest birds out here. And a pair of red and green macaws, some of the loudest birds out here. We're always checking for stowaways. When Jeff finally got his bag to the hostel in Boca Colorado the next day, out popped a big bullfrog. Some weather seemed to be moving in, but it didn't. And it was a peaceful night on the peninsula. Early morning coffee by the river is my favorite thing. Time to finish strong. Jeff is leading the way.
Well, we're almost there. In fact, this is like our first boat coming up behind me. I think it's another 12 kilometers. And this last stretch is paddle, paddle, paddle.
So you want to do this same trip? Send me an email. Thank you for watching.